Good morning. How are you today? Sorry, 4 minutes late. Had a bit of a technical glitch just before we began, and so that saw me delay a little bit. But want to welcome you to another week. I think this is week 3. Is it week 3 or week 2? I think it's week 2 of the month of July. Can you believe we're in July? Frozen weather. In just 2 months, it'll be boiling hot as we start getting into the warm weather. But either way, I mean, we're literally in quarter 3 of the year 2025. And so, as always, when we come on these platforms, we always ask and remind you, what have you done so far? How much have you progressed in as far as your goals and targets and things that you put together? And remember, my good sister and elder, Dr. Sunshine, is always teaching about that particular aspect, the Mindset Change Program, the management of your circle of life and the key areas and how you're managing those vis-a-vis your time as a resource. That's something I also emphasize. That's something Dr. Nelly emphasizes. And really the big question to you right now is, how well are you utilizing that? Now, that being said, we come here every day, Monday to Friday, to help you kind of put that into perspective. And so Monday is yours truly. I'm here. Tuesday, we have Dr. Sunshine Sylvia. Wednesday, we have the mompreneurs, although this Wednesday, I think it'll be Marketplace, so I'll be there. Then on Thursday, we have Dr. Nelly with her program, which is, Prosperity for Your Soul. And then Friday, we have New Image with their cutting edge health products. So we're very excited. They are part of us as a new partner. And last Friday, we had a very exciting show. We will be picking it up this Friday as always. So today I'm here, and my job today is to bring you and continue my series on bootstrapping, the concept of building a business using resources around you. And we've been on this for a while, and I've been building it. So last week, we looked at network marketing as the third viable business opportunity in this country. I spoke about brokerage. I spoke about being an agent. But then obviously spent 2 weeks doing network marketing. Today, I'm going now to talk about the actual concept of bootstrapping. So let me pose a question. What is the major reason why you haven't started your business yet? Why haven't you launched out with your business all this time in spite of having great ideas or hearing great concepts? Okay, what is the number one reason you're still wiring instead of getting started, right? Most people watching this are going to answer with a statement or a similar one. I have no capital, I have no money to start. If you're one of those with such an answer, then I'm here to show you how you can actually get started with little to no capital at all and go on to establish a viable and profitable business. So that's what we'll be doing over the next few weeks. Okay, so what most people do not have is the resolution to ensure is that they remain determined. Rather, what most people do not have is the resolution to remain determined, focused, committed, consistent, and disciplined. And if they don't have these things, their business are not going to take off. So this is one of the biggest factors that are necessary to see a business actually take off. I'll say them again. What are they? Okay, it's to be determined, focused, committed, consistent, and disciplined. Okay, so for the most part, people are consistent at being inconsistent. So what I am going to demonstrate herein only works if one is going to put in the effort required to make the business work. So there are 4 phases of bootstrapping, which we'll be looking at, and we'll go as far as we can go today and the next week, and on Wednesday, and so on. So what then is the concept of bootstrapping? What exactly is it? It can be defined as a building of a business out of very little to virtually nothing. Bootstrappers rely usually on personal income and savings, sweat equity, lowest possible operating costs, fast inventory turnaround, and a cash-only approach to selling. The idea then is summed up well with an answer to the question, how much is the least amount of money you need to start your business? I think that's a very, very important question because most people miss it on that aspect, right? This should also lead to the answer to another question. Are you able to start your business right now using only what you have with you today? So that those are two really, really important, statements to make. Okay, so what's the least amount of money you need to start your business? And two, can you start it with whatever you have right now? So forget about thinking about other people out there, like whatever you have right now. In the past, I've given my so-called 7 capitals you need to start business without money. And these 7 capitals, everybody has them. So you know what they are? I'll tell them to you. Number 1, talent. You got to have some form of talent. And I believe every human being has some talent somewhere. There is something that you can do quite well and quite easily, and you don't struggle to do it. That's part of the clue to what you should be starting. Then you need information. That's your second capital. So in this day and age, in the information age, with AI and Google search and search engines and all these social media platforms, you'd have to be, I'm sorry to use this word, but you'd have to be an idiot not to have information. And I'm using that so that it really hits you between the eyes. You'd have to be an absolute idiot not to know what to do, because in this day and age, you're without excuse when it comes to information, I'm telling you. And you can literally also go get that information from leading platforms and associations in the country. They are all over. There's an association of everything. So it doesn't matter which field you go into, there's some association somewhere. So you can plug into that and start getting information. So information capital is your second capital. You have it. Third is what I call the blessing capital. That's literally just follow the law. Comply. Okay, if you follow the law and comply, you're less likely to get yourself into hot water. So compliance, that's basically what the blessing capital is. If you do the right thing, you see right things. If you do the wrong thing, you see wrong things. Number 4, the thought capital or vibrational capital, whatever you think becomes. And that idea is so powerful, it's so potent, that it's one of the biggest things you must do if you want to see your business go forward and if you want to maximize your capital and take off, which is your thought capital. So thoughts are very powerful. Napoleon Hill said, what did he say? He said thoughts are things. That's what Napoleon Hill said. Whatever the human mind can achieve and believe it can, whatever the human mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. That is thought capital, my friends. Number 5, relationship capital. Every platform you want to see yourself get onto in this world, in this life, is on the back of a relationship. So learn to foster relationships. They're very practical and very powerful. Number 6, trust. You need to learn in those relationships to bring goodwill and trust. Trust is worth its weight in gold. It's so powerful. And if you operate trustworthily, with integrity with other people, believe me, they'll trust you with more. The Bible says, he that's trusted with little shall be trusted with much. But he that's not trusted with little can never be trusted with much. So it's about how you behave and how you operate in the little. That determines how much you'll be entrusted with. Number 7 is social capital. How much are you connecting and networking and building relationships that give value to people, so that in your day of need, people will remember you? That's social capital. So those are the 7 capitals. Most of us have them already, and we can easily harness them. So now, most would rush to give the negative excuse. Now, this is in relation to why they've not started, right? Most would rush to give the negative answer and claim that only money is what can help them start. Yet, if they were to think hard enough and ask the right questions, they'd be surprised with how little resourcefulness and some lateral thinking can actually present the solution to make that happen. Make what happen? The starting of the business. The challenge most startup owners have is that they tend to be too focused, hear this, on money as the only way to start. The aim of this presentation today is to show you that this could not be further from the truth. You actually don't need money. You need an idea backed by the 7 capitals I just mentioned. So it is a well-known fact in the business world that too much money at the beginning of a business tends to bring more harm than good. Why? Because the business becomes overcapitalized, and when you consider that the owners have not had a chance to test their ideas, which tend to be based on assumptions mostly, that's the thing. and which tend to be based on assumptions mostly, and will often sink money into processes that need to sustain themselves through internal income generation coming from viable concepts that stand reality tests. So you find most owners will put a lot of money in the beginning because they have a lot of it. And then even where this thing could have been allowed to grow on its own, it fails because they rely too much on the cash that they have. And that's the reason why most retirees and most people who come across a lot of money tend to fail in business, because they sink too much money at the beginning. As I say, this called overcapitalization. So having mentioned all these as a preamble, there are 4 processes that bootstrapping a business will involve. I mentioned that in my notes. Number 1, the start. Number 2, the validation. Number 3, the optimization. And number 4, the scaling. So the start, what's that? What is my product or service? And then the validation. Who wants my products and services? Then number 3, which is the optimization. How can I get to produce my products and services efficiently? And number 4, the scaling. How can I get this product to the most number of people? Now, let's start with the start, okay? So what is my product or service? Okay, so perhaps the most important question you could ask yourself, you must determine what precisely your product or service is and what sector you belong to. This is critical because it is this particular answer that will determine the viability or non-viability of your business. In marketing, a product or service is an object or system made available for consumer use. It is anything that can be offered to a market to satisfy the desire or need of a customer. Types of classification of products include convenience goods, shopping goods, specialty products, or unsought goods. Although these classifications are named as types of products, focusing on how your consumers buy these products is equally important, right? As you classify products and develop your marketing campaigns. On the other hand, a service is a transaction in which no physical goods are transferred from the seller to the buyer. The benefits of such a service are held to be demonstrated by the buyer's willingness to make the exchange. So public services are those that society as a whole pays for. These include, but are not limited to, accounting, banking, cleaning, consultancy, that's where I fall, and that's where Doc falls, education, insurance, expertise, medical treatment, or transportation. So these 9 areas are the key areas in which services fall in. So sometimes services are difficult to identify because they are closely associated with a good, such as the combination of a diagnosis with the administration of a medicine. No transfer of possession or ownership takes place when services are sold, and they, 1, cannot be stored or transported, 2, are instantly perishable, and 3, come into existence at the time they are bought and consumed. So for example, I do these coaching services. Coaching services are exactly like this. We coach people, so they only become a product as I'm creating it. Now, as can be seen, you need to look deeply within yourself and determine what precisely you want to specialize in. Then begin the process of clearly defining what your product or service is, okay, and how best it can benefit your end users. You must also ensure that you have a unique selling proposition, USP. This is what will make you stand out from your competition. What is it that you will do or offer that is different from another? So now, having done this, I want to now go on to talk about the next phase. Remember, I've just been dealing with the first phase. What was the first phase I dealt with? I dealt with the start. So now we're going to look at the validation. So validation is when you now are able to determine who wants your product. Now, as I said, the concept of bootstrapping specifically looks at how one can start a business using virtually no capital except what they already possess in their circles. And this in turn, again, with bootstrapping means Savings, money from friends and relatives, your network plus your talents, knowledge and skills. And the best way to get your mind in the right frame is to ask yourself and answer honestly this question. What is the least amount of money you need to start your business? And this is counterintuitive question, and for the most people, they are used to starting with the most amount of money in mind. Well, with bootstrapping, that is not the case, it's the least. So I'm going to cover another aspect right now, and that is validation. You have to ask yourself this very important question, that being, who likes and wants my products or services? In marketing, this is commonly referred to as the process of clearly identifying your customer. Okay? It is especially important to determine through your product whether it's a mass market product or a niche market. Also, who are the clients that would be most interested in buying your products or acquiring your services? Where would they normally be found? Which platforms or groups would they be categorized under? Are they accessible directly, or would you need to advertise in order to inform them about what you are selling? How precisely would you need to sell to them? Is it by display or by presentation? So I can tell you guys, if you're listening to this, you can literally pause the video at this stage, go back and take note of each one of those items I've just listed, because right there is part of your business plan. See? So as can be heard, there are many questions that need answering. And if these questions are answered correctly based on a survey taken, you may find that you save yourself a bucket load of money, okay, and not end up spending so much on marketing and that to the wrong crowd altogether. Okay. One great saying that I really find profound is this one: a full man will not buy the best meals, not because the meals are bad, but simply because he has no capacity to eat anymore. You know, I need to pause for that one because that's a profound statement. Maybe I should repeat it. Let me repeat it for you. A full man will not buy the best meals, not because the meal isn't good, but simply because he has no capacity to eat anymore. So, do not market to those who already have solutions and are satisfied, unless yours is better, or the wrong crowd tantamount to selling top depressing fertilizer to an ICT firm. They have absolutely no use for it, no matter how important it may be. Okay, to help you get a grip around what I am speaking about, let us use a practical example and run with that to see how best we can apply all the questions about the ones I just asked. So Janet Mwanza, not real name, coincidentally, that's Auntie Sylvia's surname, but you know what I mean, this is no relation to the Mwanzas. Like countless other people, came to me with the idea of starting a business. Okay, after some deep soul searching and looking around her for what unique product she has, she indicated that she has and can access cashew nuts, and realizing how unique they are, could work on ensuring she markets them well. The first stage is how to get those into Lusaka. So seeing how little money she had, she needed to carry out some research and see where precisely she could market these and for what price. She also had to seriously look into her initial packaging. Then she also had to look into the distribution strategy. Would she supply directly to high-end restaurants and social lounges with the usual 30 to 90-day invoice payment systems, or directly sell to buyers through various flea markets scattered on different days in the city? Or even directly to the big boys themselves, as in the manufacturers of cashew nuts who then deliver to other places. So she also needed to carry out a very important exercise, oftentimes overlooked by many who start any business, and that is to really crunch the numbers. She needed to know precisely all her costs without leaving out anything. A lot of people don't do that. The cost she needed to compute had to be exhaustive. Okay, nothing should be left out, as that has dire consequences when it comes to the future sustainability of the business. The costs with regard to the cashew nuts are the actual cost of the nuts themselves, transportation, and all logistics in relation to the movement, processing costs, labeling and packaging, then marketing, which would include Oh my, oh my, oh my, what has happened here now? Oh, oof, I was worried. Okay, so this would include direct advertising costs, calls, and canvassing. And a lot of people don't know what is calling and what is canvassing. Calling is calling a customer. Canvassing is literally going down to go and meet them. Okay, delivery and time to payment. These are all costs that a lot of people miss out. Okay, and this must be calculated as an entire cost in block numbers. So you can't do percussion. That's very difficult. So you want to do an entire consignment and then work out all the costs and then break that down by the number of packages or whatever you're going to sell from there. Okay. She also had to remember to add indirect costs as she grows, including premises, electricity and water, and any other utilities utilized. Lastly, the labor factor had to be added to. Of course, compliance. That means, becoming registered and getting a tax payments clearance certificate and paying taxes, because these things also become a barrier when you grow to a certain level, because some buyers will not buy from you unless you can produce a tax clearance certificate, which is a standard law now. So many companies are asked that if you're going to buy from anybody, you're going to buy from people that are compliant. So that becomes a barrier too. Now, as can be seen, many newcomers leave out so many other costs and only think of the cost of the goods and the amount made when sold, yet could not be more deceiving and even detrimental to the business. So the final part is to figure out the minimal quantity of what is to be sold to A, break even, and then B, make a profit, and then C, the size of the profit. This last part is the death of many great business ideas because it is often overlooked. A lot of times, actually, it's seriously overlooked. And so many times, even where the business was viable, they end up failing. So what am I saying here? I'm saying who wants my products is just the least of your issues. You're going to look at so many other factors to ensure that this business is actually viable. So an idea sounds brilliant until you work at it. There are some people who actually work on these businesses and not realize that they're actually running at losses. And that's why it's so important to really look at this deeply. Okay? So if one does not do that, then you lose out. And so I want to just delve a bit deeper on that aspect. So if we go back to the concept and idea of the viability of the business, ask yourself, how's your business? What are the costs of running your business? I always teach this thing, which is quite interesting. I call it the 1-3-5-7 principle. You may have heard it. If you haven't, well, good for you. You'll learn. If you have, well, it's a reminder. 1 year to break even, 3 years to become sustainable, 5 years to become profitable, and 7 years to become world class. And I'll be honest with you, these are just arbitrary numbers. They sound great, 1, 3, 5, 7. But in reality, for most businesses, it's longer than that for all of these phases. And let me illustrate. Statistically, this is true. For every for every 10 businesses that start operating, 9 out of 10 will fold and close, maybe never even take off in 1 year. And for the ones that actually succeed, another 9 will fold and close within 5 years. In short, the statistics are depressing, but they sit at around 99 out of 100 businesses will fail. And that figure is not even exaggerated, because if you go to the Patents and Company Registration Agency to look at what's their PACRA, you will be quite amazed and amused to learn that so many businesses don't even file returns because they don't even make it. They close before they start. People register, go through all the trouble, but never go anywhere, because it takes so much more than an idea to make a business work. It takes so much more to make a business become sustainable. So the first year is just breaking even. And here I'm talking about what I term brick and mortar businesses. Businesses that involve agency are a bit unique. So, as long as you're in the right place, right time, but even that, for a lot of people, they fail. So sustainability is a long cry. And so for most businesses, if you put in, for argument's sake, say 100,000 kwacha into your business. For most businesses, that 1 year alone is just making back that 100,000 kwacha. In fact, most don't even make it back. And don't forget, businesses need to be operational. That means they have to have cash flow. And cash flow, my friends, is one of the biggest, if not the most important component of sustaining a business. But most people don't think of cash flow. They only think of profit. They don't think of cash flow. How do you sustain your business? If you've got people that are employed, how do you make sure you meet all your costs when they become due? Biggest of which is salary. If you're renting premises, if you're operating, you need airtime, you need fuel, you need transport, you need so many things to make your business viable. And then of course, you're a human being, you've got to kind of eat off the business, not so. So can you even pay yourself a salary? So that's what I mean by that first year. Breaking even, most don't even break even. And then to become sustainable means you can put yourself in that business and give yourself a salary and it's running. Most people I know, that's far from the reality. Their business is not making money. So they're essentially subsidizing it using other money from elsewhere. So, by the way, if you are at that stage, never borrow, either to start or sustain a business that's not proven itself. So a lot of people will borrow to start the business. And I find that very difficult because you don't have a working model yet. So try and stay away from borrowing and focus 100% on executing with the little resources present. So 3 years to become sustainable, 3 years. Most businesses, that never happens. 5 years to become profitable. Most businesses, that never happens either. This is the reason why, as I close, this is the reason why I even tell you that if you're going into a network marketing business and you find it's a new business, I would be a bit wary about jumping in and putting my heart and soul. Because most businesses fail in their first 5 years, unless they are uniquely different. But most businesses fail in their first 5 years. And so if most businesses are failing, I would rather you jump onto a business where it has already gone past those 5 years. That way, it gives you a bit of security. They have systems, they have processes in place, everything is in order. If you're starting as a person, know that for the next 5 years, I mean, there are exceptions to this rule, but for the most part, for the next 5 years, most businesses will hardly make money. If you can come to terms with that early enough, you'll be a happy man or woman. But if you're one of those that believes, no, I'll make the money. It's not bad to hope. It's not bad to have an optimistic attitude, but I am speaking as an expert. I can tell you, you will just be breaking even. So what you need to do is really watch for the cash flow. Let me close by mentioning these two things. And then next week, we're going to look at the validation. Very exciting. No, optimization. But let me leave you with these two things. When it comes to your business, there are two things. And these two things, my dear friends, are it. If these two don't exist, forget about all this stuff I've just taught you. Okay? Starting, validating, optimizing, and scaling. But forget about all that stuff if these two don't. In fact, you will never even get to stage 3. Because you can start, yes, what product service, fine, that's easy. You can optimize, you can validate, but that's a bit difficult. Beyond that, you can't. These two are the key to number 2. So whatever business you're doing right now, these are the 2 takeaways. Number 1, your business, your product, your service must be in front of customers. Every time your customer must be looking at, your potential prospect must be looking, eyeballing your product. If they are not seeing your product, my friend, you're going nowhere. So that's number 1, eyeballs on your product or service. So are you doing that? Is your product or service in the presence of customers? Because that's it. If that's not happening, forget business plan, what all that stuff means nothing if your product is not visible to your customers. One of my lessons I always remember is Coca-Cola. At one point in this country, Coca-Cola was banned completely. Coca-Cola still ran adverts on ZNBC with a banned product. Can you believe that? They were still running adverts. That's interesting. The second thing that you must do, and I close with this, is sales. At the end of the day, if there are no transactions and no money is coming in your pocket, no money is going in your mobile money account, no money is going in your bank account, no money is coming, forget it. It means you're running a theoretical enterprise. Because at the end of the day, the second issue is there must be sales. Money must be coming in your pocket. So ask yourself, whatever you're doing right now as a business, are there sales? Why are there no sales? Well, that's because your product is not in front of customers. Are you putting your product in the presence in front of customers? Because that's really what matters. If your product is not in front of customers, prospects, you're pretty much theorizing. You're not going to make money. So you must be visible and there must be close of sales. As we say in sales, always be closing ABC. Always be closing the sale so that you make money. Money comes in your pocket. Right. So on that note, my dear friends, I hope you've had a very educative, insightful session. Next, on Wednesday, I'll be back to build on the third aspect, which is optimization. Optimizing. How do I produce my product or service in the most efficient way possible? I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Meantime, tomorrow, Doc is back. She is carrying on with her mindset change program. You guys have a great day and make the day count. As we say, carpe diem.